Alright, so I don't know how many of you know what a VCR is, but this is an old school one. It's a Metalist VR2310 video cassette recorder. This was high dollar stuff back in my day when I was a kid, before they come out with DVDs. Oh, it's a Samsung. So I don't have any power tools. This might take a little while, but let's see what type of goodies we can get in there, because this thing is yeah, it's quite heavy. So y'all stick around.
Rock bottle on the track, boy.
Alright, hopefully this will be a good angle for y'all and y'all can hear me good. So as I do most things, start by cutting off the power cord. At one time these were worth about $1 a piece to $2 a piece by weight. I'm not exactly sure what they're worth right now. And I do cut the end off to later get the brass out of it. So I only have two tools. I got wire cutter and a screwdriver. It's a multi-tool screwdriver, but still. So if you're new to scrapping, no excuse. Can't say you ain't got the right tools to make some money, because a lot of times it doesn't take much. So we're going to start by taking some of these Phillips head or slotted screws. Slotted. What's the other word they use? Let's see. Cross screws or something. I don't know. I've heard some wild names in my day. We're going to start by taking some of those out. See if we can't get the cover off this thing and see what's in it. So if you're new, make sure to hit that bell, turn on notifications, check out some of the people in the comments that leave comments in my video. It's a whole lot of great guys. We all work together and chat and help each other out. We will be glad to join you in or add you in and help you. So this is going to be shred. If you put a magnet to it, it'll stick. Lowest price of anything. As you take a few things apart and make a few dollars, if you want some other tools, be sure to save that money up and buy you a drill and stuff. Yes, I do have some, but there's been some crazy stuff going on here, and I am not set up right now to be able to do stuff like that. Those are all hiding at the shop, and yeah. So this is definitely from the old days, because this thing's put together good. Because if it was a newer model, it'd already snap out of there. Because they use cheap stuff nowadays, if you can even find one nowadays, for that matter. Let's unplug a wire too and see if we can't get it out the way. So there's definitely a lot of wires in here. Some nice circuit boards. Some really nice looking IC chips. So all I'm doing is just pulling the connections loose, grabbing close at the wire, pulling and twisting back and forth. That one apparently doesn't want to come loose. Some of them are not going to come loose. There's probably not going to be much gold in here, but no guarantees. As you've done this for a while, you kind of learn what does and what doesn't have gold in it. So what connectors you want to pull off for gold recovery or to sell the board sort for gold, and what connectors you can just clip off at the board and leave it on the board to go in with everything else. So I do not know the purpose of this board, but it's here. It does not look like there's much on here of value other than a bunch of IC chips. And that's a pretty good size IC chip. If you go back a couple videos, I give you some information on your IC chips. I don't have my pliers with me right now, but these I just grab this way and twist. Same twist, just twist back and forth, and you'll hear the legs break. It'll slowly get easier until it releases. This one right here will take a little bit more work to get it off. And then I would throw the rest of this into shred because there's normally copper running in these lines inside this board. And most places will let you throw that into the shred. But get those IC chips off first because there's some value there. Alright. So, all these wires, eventually I'll be cutting all the ends off like this. Throwing the wire into 55% recovery and the ends into shred. But as for this video, I'm not doing that because y'all don't want to sit here for the next 6 hours while I do all that. And as usual, check with your local yard. Some yards will take it with the ends on it, and some yards will take it with the ends off, and some yards will take it either way with a different price. As most of us tell us, you do it the way you like, and that kind of thing. So how about that? Not what I was expecting. They make different versions of these things. You get used to one and pick up a different one, and all of a sudden I don't know how to use it anymore. So, that's plastic. It is trash. So let's get back here to the back corner where the power went in. Most of the time I finish cutting that power cord out. It's a little difficult to get in there. There's the rest of the power cord. We've got a heat sink, we've got a transformer, we've got all kinds of goodies. And of course, if you're using a drill, this would go along a whole lot faster. But like I said, I don't have all that with me. So I'm doing it the old school way. This is the way I started before I had drills. And I saved up money from doing this stuff and bought drills and other things to make it go faster and easier. And it also helps me with other projects around the house too. And like I said, this is old school. It doesn't really have much in it for gold, so you don't have to really worry about your ends. A lot of times we just grab wires and yank. To get it all out, but some people like to see where stuff goes, so I'm taking my time with this. This runs up there somewhere, so we'll just cut it off there. Pull it out. Sometimes you just gotta snip some wire to get it out the way too. And there's that much in there. Alright, let's see if we can't free up some of this stuff here. Like I said, you don't have to get every last little piece. Most of these things, as you get used to them, you know these are not gold connectors. But if it's going to take you 6 hours to collect all the gold connectors, it's probably not worth it anyway. So you probably better just cut them off. Now we're starting to get to where we can see stuff and get to stuff. And I'm worried about, you know, the environment, and taking care of the world that we live in. And at the same time, making $1 or $2. This is not a get rich fast thing by any means, but it is a nice way to make $1 and take care of the world. And I also find this very relaxing, figuring out, you know, what runs what, how to take this, that, and the other apart. And my mind being idle is never a good thing. So you got one IC chip on here to take. I think these have some stuff in them, but it's not something I normally go after. Yeah, buddy. Alright, let's spin this thing around here a little bit and see if we can't get the rest of the screws out the back. And things aren't made this good anymore either. If you'd be to buy one of these now, you'd be lucky if it lasted 6 months to a year. Everything's made cheap. It's not made to last. They want to keep you coming back to buy more. It's soldered on. They don't make that good of a connection or anything anymore. So stuff like this, the only thing you really have to look out for is capacitors. This has been sitting around long enough. I know it's no charge. Pop that off. There's not much anything in that. I just toss it in shred like it is. Now a lot of times these slide-on connectors are brass. Again, check with your yard. They may take it as dirty brass. Each yard is different. Some of them are going to tell you to throw it in a shred. A lot of people check their screws to see if their screws are brass, because you run across brass screws in some stuff. I don't run across a lot of brass screws to really make it worth my time to check them. If you do a lot of old electronics, you need to learn what some of these parts are, because there's goodies in some of these parts that you may not want to miss out on. Just looking at this, I can see there's quite a few decent size IC chips. They're the old ones, so there's a decent amount of weight to them. Let's see if this board will come out now. we can get a better look at it. Alright, so this is the IC chips. Stuff I'll definitely take, send in to a friend. This is going to be an aluminum heat sink. That's probably MOSFETs. There's good stuff in those. Other than that, I just see one crystal oscillator here. And this is all stuff I've pointed out and showed in videos before. Kind of showed you weights, you know, what they're worth, that kind of thing. So there's another IC chip hiding inside of that. Alright, baby.
I do have a question.
And there's nothing on the back side of the board. Normally I just kind of break stuff down in pieces and kind of separate it out according to its category. Circuit boards go here, plastic goes there, shred goes to the other place. Then later I'll come back to like circuit boards and pull IC chips or that kind of thing. You can use a, what they call it, it's like a sand bath, heated sand or whatever, to help remove IC chips and other parts. If it'll tickle your fancy to do so. I normally just grab them and rip them all off of there. They are good at hiding stuff. So let's see what we got here. Uh-oh, we are in business. So we'll come back to that in a few minutes. Now that's where you have to start deciding what you want to do. This right here has some brass pieces in it. It has a few different motors in it. Stuff like that. Do you want to grab what's easy? Do you want to tear it all down? Do you not care to fool with none of it? You know, that's all questions you have to ask yourself and decide. I'm going to start by pulling this motor sitting right here. Looks like 2 screws in there, it'll come right off. So yeah, that was an easy motor to get your hands on. They go for anywhere from 15 to 30 cents a pound instead of shred price. With that said, there's also a brass piece on the end of it. You can grab it with pliers and pull that brass piece right off of there and throw it into brass. Brass is normally about $1.50 a pound. Let's see what's holding this front board on. Looks like it's just 2 screws here. So we'll pull them out and see if this front board will come off of here. Little sideboard over here. Sorry y'all can't see what I'm doing, but I'll show you as I take it off. So a little sideboard. It's got a LED and two push button switches. Push button switches have silver tabs in them. Some people go after that. LEDs you can refine and get silver out of. Again, the little switches and LEDs, if you're doing it by hand, in my opinion, is not worth it. This is your front panel. There's some more wires on here to cut off, clean up. But again, you've got LEDs if you want to go after those. Underneath the main display, you've got a nice size IC chip here. You've got an IC chip here. Some more of those little push button switches. Bunch of them here. And then you've got this switch. Normally has some silver in it. I'm not even exactly sure what this is. So that's another switch. So if you want to go after that, to me it takes too much to refine silver, too much time and too much chemicals, so I don't normally go after it unless it's something big. But again, to each their own. If it's something you enjoy doing, go for it. So there's that front panel. Again, nothing on the back. I've heard there's stuff in the glass on these things. I couldn't even begin to tell you. It's not something I go after or normally deal with. Some more wire. Alright, so now we're kind of down to this piece. We have wire running across the front, and I don't even know what this is. It's kind of interesting though. I will say you can cut this stuff open if you want to know what's in it. Cut it open and see. Alright, so I was looking, see, it's still a whole lot of weight over here. And that's why some people just toss it in the shred after they've gotten that stuff out. But some of us want to know what all that weight is. If it's motors, then I can get them easily, toss them into the motor stack. Then why not? Now, doing this by hand at this point, maybe not worth the time. If I was using a drill, I'd already be done. But again, this stuff is relaxing and fun. And it also helps my hands using a screwdriver, because I'm starting to have some feeling issues and stiffness and all. So I want to keep my muscles up in my fingers and things working like it's supposed to. So here you've got a motor, pretty sure that's a motor, that's a motor, that's a motor. So there's a whole lot of weight sitting here, and it looks like there's quite a few motors. So let's see what we got. And if you do much of this, you learn real fast that things are not built like they used to be. Because I mean, you gotta try to break some of this stuff. The newer things, they'll just snap right off. Little coil of copper right there. We'll definitely pull that off of there. Couple more wires to add to the stack. You see, I did this stuff with my grandpa. So it has some meaning to me too. But like I said, it keeps my mind occupied and busy, which is one of the good things for me. Keeps my mind off of, you know, time in the military and sitting around being bored just isn't good for me. So I try to find something constructive to do with my time, and this fits right in because to me I'm helping people, which is important to me. Don't want to let go. Take enough screws out, eventually anything will fall apart. So for those of you that like the longer videos, this is definitely one of those. And like I said, if you like to go after the brass, you know, there's quite a few things in here that is probably brass. This, that. I don't have my other tools with me, so I can't really go after that right now. I'm sure I'll probably go after it later. Alright, so that looks like it's about everything on the bottom side. Flip it back over. See if we can figure out what's holding this piece in here. God, I dropped screws everywhere. Craziness. You just keep taking screws out until it falls out. So this is your head reader. Well, I'm sorry. This is like the motor, or what the back side of that tape would run on. This is your head reader. It would click over. Nothing wants to move. There we go. But it would click over into that tape and read it as it went by. And that's how you got your video and sound. And we got some aluminum pieces in here. Or they might be zinc, but they're probably cast aluminum. A lot of people throw the zinc in the cast aluminum because, well, a lot of times you can't tell the difference unless you know what you're looking for. That's it's got an E stand or E in it. This is a piece of cast. So I'll turn that down in a minute. And like I said, most people are not going to take the time to tear this down, and I understand why. But if it soothes your soul, kind of like it does me, then by all means, there's some more aluminum. Tear it down, see what you can find. This piece is getting loose. Try to take something out and it doesn't come out easy. You're missing a screw. Alright, so decent amount of weight to this. I don't see any actual motors though, or any great parts on here. So we'll send her to shred as it is. I don't think it's thick enough to be prepared steel if you clean it up. I'm sure y'all can see this piece of brass. Brass. These screws might be brass. There's a piece of brass. So I mean, if you want to take your time and strip it all the way down, there's some goodies in here. It just takes time. Nice piece of brass going through that aluminum there. There's a lot of lock rings on here, on the ends of things. Can't drop those screws out. There's your plastic hole. A whole bunch of shred. Aluminum and brass. Some more brass and aluminum. That piece might be aluminum. And that looks like it's all the screws on this Got a little board on the back, but there's nothing major on that board. We've got some more wire over here. Just cut it all off. There's a motor. There's another motor. That's gonna be brass. That's probably brass. I know that's brass. Brass. So at this point we have these little locking rings that are holding stuff in place. We will see if the screwdriver will get under them, but I doubt it. If you have the tool to take care of those, that is the best way to do it. When you take those locking rings off, then your other motors fall out, like so. And I'm not gonna we might. And yes, I'm being very careful because I know I'm not using the right tool for the job here. Just like that. That comes off. And then I can take these screws out the back. Take that motor the rest of the way off. That's a motor. And there's other brass pieces and aluminum pieces on here. This is cast aluminum. And I'll get that later. You've seen how to do it. It's not a lot left, but there's a few pieces of brass and aluminum that I'll probably play with when I have the proper tools to get it, because I'm not trying to stab myself. Some more brass in that. Nice piece. And that's what they used in the old days. Not all this cheap stuff now. Stuff back then, they built it to stand the test of time, and nowadays they build it to break in a year so you come back and buy more. So this does have this is going to be kind of tricky. So technically this side's a motor and this side both, so you could probably just toss it in like it is as a motor, or you can try to separate the two and take this cast aluminum piece off. I'd probably just set it down and smash it one time, break this side off and break that side off, and let the rest go as a motor. So you end up with all these motors. It's a pretty good amount of weight. Well, I'm sorry, I'm missing one. This one too. So that's a pretty good amount of weight. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's weigh it and see. I've got a scale sitting over here. So I think they're running like 15 cents a pound. So that's 2 pounds and 6/10 of an ounce. So 30 cents. It's another one of those items that adds up after a while. Find you a 5-gallon bucket and toss them in it until it's full, and then take it with you to the scrap yard when it's full. So this over here, I don't normally scrap on this table. I use this as my desk, but tonight I am. So this is your heat sink. So I think this part here is going to be extruded. You're going to have to release these screws. This is going to be extruded, and the rest of it, no, that's probably extruded too. But this in here is going to be probably sheet. That's what it looks like. Let's see if we can't finish breaking it down. Whew. They were in there. So yeah, that's probably extruded aluminum. I'd probably break these fins off and put them in sheet, but this is definitely extruded too. And breaking them off shouldn't be nothing more than just grabbing them with pliers and bending them. So it's a little aluminum there. Which, by the way, aluminum on the, I guess, national side has jumped way up. That might be a MOS. No, it says voltage regulator. I don't see much on here worth taking off other than this MOSFET and maybe this and the transformer. That transformer is pretty heavy. That also goes with the motors. Like 95% of this weight is that transformer. Let's just throw it up here to see. So 1 pound, 14.7 ounces. So probably about 1.5 pound transformer there. So it's worth what, 20-25 cents by itself, along with the rest of the motors, because motors and transformers go together. So anyway, hope that helps y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll probably sit around and play with this stuff and see if I can't figure out how to get the brass out of it and the aluminum apart, because, well, that's just me. See y'all next time.